everyone, and happy Tuesday and happy National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Today, we are talking about all things domestic violence awareness. People might think you're celebrating that. I am, because we have an initiative which is focused on domestic violence. So this month we have more insight, and we have a lot of different activities throughout the city that are going on to honor our survivors, to remember those who have passed away. So this month is super important to people like myself, who is a survivor. So the last time we were on this screen, we were with Miss Amanda Peguero, and we were talking about gaining our voice back. And one of the things that I stated at that time was myself and the women who joined me in our documentary, we gained our voice back the day that we began that documentary. We decided to start telling our stories, spreading awareness so that others can learn about what we were going through, and that helped us gain our voice back. So before we get into tonight's show, just to remind you folks, as you see the number scrolling across the bottom of your screen, 1-800-799-7233. That is the number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. If you or someone you know, someone that's just your friend, family, or even a foe, needs help, make sure they reach out to that line. They can reach us at www.loveshouldnothurt.com. We will have a new website soon, but until then, you can reach us there. If we do not return your call, email, or text before 24 hours, remember to reach out to the hotline or dial 911. I'm super excited tonight, folks. Super excited. Hello, Dolly, and hello, Marilyn. I'm super excited because when I started this initiative 4 years ago, we're celebrating our anniversary. I did it not by myself. I did it with some amazing women. Last night, Jackie was at our networking event because she shared in that moment with me as well. And tonight, I have our other beautiful woman who came out in the documentary with us. She was a huge part of starting this, and she has been a huge supporter since day one. Girl never says no to me, unless she got to work, but that's okay. We forgive her. So I am excited to have her here tonight. If people don't know, just a little bit of insight. This woman and I originally did not like each other. How crazy is that? But now I absolutely love Zulma. I love her with all of my heart, and our project is what helped us do that. So I'm going to welcome her on the screen so she can tell you how much she loves me now too.
I'm just so thrilled to be here, and I'm laughing because it's so funny how, we didn't get along, and then now it's like you doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, but we're doing it all for the sake of, domestic violence survivors and domestic violence victim and all that stuff. And I'm laughing here because you're saying we did not get along, and I love you so much. And I'm just so glad, to be a part of this project and, just being there with you when it all came down. It was just amazing. And I still remember it from now until whenever. We've Absolutely. Done so many things together. It's just awesome.
I know. Now she loves me, people. I told you. Well, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we have to, pay tribute to how we started this mission. So we're just going to play a very, very small trailer from where we began. Let's go to that so you guys can see how this little dynamic duo and our trio began our journey.
That's us, and then all you see is me on my serious face, and then the long hair, and I chopped it off.
You look totally different now.
Awesome. It was awesome.
So listen, I said, I sent you an email like I do prior to every show.
It was like, it was, I had so many mixed emotions, it was just, wow. Like, okay, I seen that you had posted something, and that's how it started. You posted something, and I said, you know what? Let me go on here and let me just throw my name out there and see if she picks me. I didn't think you would because, again, we didn't get along, but when you hit me up on the inbox, I was like, And I guess it's because of who people knew Zulma was at that time, Zulma la salsera, Zulma la merenguera, whatever. I was always dancing, nothing new to people. And, but that's all people knew about me,
Right. Absolutely.
They knew about Zulma, salsa, always clubbing, always. When the video came out and you started the showings, they were like, there's no way. And when you started promoting it, Zulma? No, not Zulma. And I had a lot of people come to me and say, wow, I didn't know. No, because we human beings only allow people to know what we want you to know, not
Absolutely.
what is in our past or not what we're hiding in the closets or whatever the case may be, and it's just interesting that, when the whole documentary stuff came out and they were like, I would have never. Interesting.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about it a little bit last week with Amanda because we were speaking last week about gaining our voices back.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I said was, I believe that all of us who took a part in that day were able to gain our voices back with this documentary. And because of that, because there were so many people within the community that they knew you as the salsera, they knew me as the photographer, like they just knew us within the community. And when I decided to reach out to you, it was because of that exactly. Because I said, if we're going to do something, it has to have some type of meaning behind it. And I want to make sure that it's people that people know, because I
Exactly.
want people to see it and say, oh my God, I know them,
Hmm.
and they went through this. I can't believe it. And that's exactly what happened. It was like a triple effect. Like it
Oh
just,
yeah,
it was a ripple effect.
definitely,
After we did it,
definitely.
it was like, really? Oh my God,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
believe it. And then we learned of other people that we knew, and they were like, I'm a survivor as well. I mean, we're like, what, you, like, it was a wake-up call for all of us. We all were like, wow, I
Absolutely.
can't believe it, oh my God. And that's been the initiative of Love Shouldn't Hurt, right? And
Exactly.
we have come together with the documentary and with things we've done since then, as a way of allowing those people to finally gain their voices back and say, hey, listen, I went through that too, I survived it too. Because we had our networking event last night, and when I got up to speak, that's something that I stated, that a lot of people say, oh my goodness, you're loud and proud about what you do, and you're so proud of what you do, and are you not ashamed? And no, because gaining my voice back by doing that documentary, look how far we've come.
Yeah, and look how many people we've helped,
Yeah.
get out of situations, and it's amazing. I mean, it's I don't see it as as a celebration. I see it as a helping each other out.
Mhm.
Um, you learn things from me. I learn things from you. I refer people to you. I get referrals too, and we just grow and just move forward with our lives as survivors and help others that are victims. It's so important to help each other. You know what I mean? A lot of people are still struggling and not seeking help because they're
Yeah,
scared to voice their, opinion and voice, and they just speak up.
absolutely.
It's crazy, but it's beneficial at the same time.
It is. And the it saddens me sometimes because people think that all we receive is positive feedback, which is not the case.
That
um,
is absolutely right.
Doing this for the past 4 years, I've received so much bad information as well. I've
Yeah.
received criticism for doing what I do. People telling me that, because I'm, a victim, that I'm going to always be a victim, and that I'm just, out here to male bash or to just put it in a negative perspective. But people don't realize in the day to day what I deal with. They don't realize how many families we've helped, the joy you get from that, the joy,
Exactly.
and it's so much, it's so personal for me because during my time of my abuse, no one knew. There were people who thought about it, and they're like, I
Hmm.
think she's going through something, but I'm not sure. And then, when I came out about it at that time to certain people, they felt helpless.
Hmm.
They were like, we could have helped you. There could have been things we did for you. And I'm like, you don't realize that as a person going through it at that time, you're not thinking about how they can help you. You're worried about being told that, you're stupid. I would never let anyone do that to me.
Hmm.
You're foolish. Why
I've
did
been told that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the
Hmm.
the best one was "Será que le gusta?" Because
Mm.
she stays. She
Yes,
must
because
like
she
it because she
stays.
stays.
Right.
So they don't realize what you go through. So now being able to run this organization, and I say it all the time, I'm very transparent on this show. I am not in any way like I'm healed and I'm great and I'm perfect. We say it all the time in our shows, like there's trauma that comes, there's triggers that we may not even know are still there, that we
Hmm.
go into other relationships and they come out and we're just like, I can't believe I still have that in my head and things like
Right.
that. So
Hmm.
to be able to help other women and see them succeed and see them be survivors, like relocating women, it's been 4 years and we've relocated almost 100 women and men. And
Exactly.
to see them call me and say, Chrissy, oh my God, I'm doing so good, inboxing me pictures of where they live, their jobs, how good their kids are doing. People don't realize the satisfaction I get. So the
Mm.
satisfaction I get from those survivor stories or those happy endings are what push me to keep going. So the naysayers who say that I'm crazy and that I'm doing this, for attention, they do nothing for the positivity I get from the women who call and say, thank you for helping me. Or those
Exactly.
women like Teresa Fetzer, who always comes and says, you have no idea how just watching your show the first 2 years changed my life. We don't see that because to us it's just we're just spreading information. We're just trying to
Exactly.
help. But we don't realize, like what's come from this documentary. So in that's my intro into the next thing. So it's been 4 years.
Mhm.
October 18th is when we did our documentary.
Yeah.
So we're like a week and a half away from that.
Yeah.
What how First question is, why did you say yes when I asked you? What was it? What was in your heart to do that documentary that day?
Knowledge. People needed to know a little bit more about just Zulma la Salsera.
Mhm,
I didn't want to be only known for a dancer because
mhm,
that was just a hobby. It was a every weekend hobby, but it was my hobby.
mhm,
I wanted people to know a little bit because you can't, just open up to let people know everything about you. But yeah, I dance. I dance because dancing is not only a form of exercise for me, it was also my getaway. You
mhm,
know, um, I was going through a rough patch. Déjame irme a bailar. I'm
mhm,
gonna go dance some salsa. I had an
mhm,
argument. I'm gonna go dance some salsa. I used to get my anger, my frustration, dancing. And it came to a point where what people need to know who Sulma La Salsera is a little bit. So when you posted that you was looking for people and I inboxed you, I said, because again, because of our unfortunate beginnings, I didn't think you would pick me, but when you did, I was like, fíjate, I was like, okay, I was in shock. I was kind of surprised. I'm not even gonna lie. And I said, okay, so this is the opportunity to let people in and to let people know, hey, I was one of these people, you
mhm,
know. And unfortunately, not once, but twice.
mhm,
My first one was physical, and
mhm,
my second one was mental. And a lot of people don't know that. There's more than just physical
mhm,
domestic violence. There's mental. There's financial. There's un sinnúmero de cosas, a bunch of stuff.
mhm,
But I just wanted people to get to know a little bit about who Sulma the dancer, really is, or what where does she come from? What's up with her? Because a lot of people used to see me also like not too friendly, not too, but that happens when you're in a situation with domestic violence. You tend to have these walls,
yeah.
and you don't just allow anybody in. And unfortunately, you was one of the people that I'm in. But I love you dearly. I really
Love
do.
me now though.
I really do. I really do. But I had to let my wall down, with you. I had to really let my wall down and say, you know what? I have to stop it with this girl. I don't even know why we didn't get along, but soon I dropped the wall and
Mhm.
go forward with it. And gracias a Dios, here we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of change that came, I believe, with all of our lives with doing
Yeah.
this documentary. Um, sh- Obviously, a lot of change from me, right? Because I went from just let's do a documentary to now a full fledged organization that
Exactly.
everywhere I go, people know who I am, and I'm like, hi, I have no idea who you are, but hi. I think so. It's brought a lot of change in my life. It's brought a lot of change to how I carry myself, the way that I extend myself to people, how relationships go with me. Like a lot has changed, I said it the last show. I recently made a lot of changes to my life. I
Yeah.
like full fledged left a very toxic relationship that went on far too long. I moved from my
Mhm.
home. I moved from my home
Right.
and feel at peace now in my new home. Started a new job. So, we have a lot of chapters that, have to start over so that we
Exactly.
can get ourselves
Mhm.
into a better place. And the documentary did that for me. It allowed me to see, as time went on and I had different interactions with people, it was like, wow, even in myself running this organization, I need to make changes. So a lot of my life has changed in that way. It's changed in the public eye clearly because now, people see me and they know who I am because of what we do. How do you think that this documentary has changed you in what ways, whether it's publicly, whether it's personally, whatever the case?
I can honestly say that the documentary, it was like an open chapter to a new path.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the month prior to the documentary, my mother had passed away. So that was an impact in itself.
Yeah.
I also left the dance scene
Mm-hmm.
and accepted Jesus in my life as my savior. And I'm a full-blown Christian. I don't push religion on anyone, but I'm like that meme that says, I'm going to talk about Jesus. But I don't like to push religion. I like to push relationship, because you should have a relationship with Jesus. And my friend, Brenda Ruiz, that I know that she's going to be watching, maybe not now, but later.
Yeah.
She made that very clear to me, because we talk a lot, her and I. And she said to me, very great advice. She said, don't push Bible or don't push religion on people, but please do push relationship, because no one knows you better than the Lord, So with that being said, the Lord presented me a dream. And in that dream, he showed me that I was going to be around women and people. I have then since grown a little bit in the religion. I don't want to say religion, but the relationship that I have with the Lord, it's gotten me into a leadership role in a church, Iglesia Internacional Peña de Oreb. I got to read it because I don't know it by heart. And I'm doing a leadership role there for domestic violence.
Awesome.
It's every second and fourth Friday of the month, from 7 to 9. And yes, it's in a church, but the church looks like a house. And no, it's not about church. We're going to be doing different things. It's more like a self-care, reunion of ladies that are both. I'm looking for survivors. I'm looking for victims, because we have a lot to offer. We're going to be, and if you don't mind me elaborating on this, it's cool.
No.
We're going to be helping people that are in the situation. We're going to be helping them, try to place them in safe places. Those that need help, like for example, with rent, we'll be helping them with that. We'll be helping them with food. If they need food, we're going to be helping them with that. We're also going to be doing self-care, makeup, facials. We'll be doing trips, because sometimes, you have to just get away a little bit. There's an amazing program that or trip that I have information on, that I would like to get a group of, a whole group of us. And just, if you haven't seen it, I went to see this show live. It's called David. It's just one of the little trips that I would like to go. It's in Sights and Sounds. If you haven't gone to Sights and Sound, it's just absolutely amazing. We have different activities for those crafters who like crafting. We'll be doing crafting. We'll be playing bingo. We'll have movie nights. It's more of a place to go. Yeah, you want to come and just do something. Exactly. Again, it's not, I'm not pushing religion. I just want to help some victims, because it's not only about getting out of the situation. If you're a victim, if you're a survivor, it's not only about talking about it. It's about, let's do something. Let's take a trip here or there. It doesn't have to be a flight. It could just be, like I said, Sights and Sounds. It could be a theater. It could be, different things. It could be, well, today I want to learn how to do a wreath. Christmas is coming. Okay, well then let's do crafty stuff. I want to learn how to put makeup on. I may not know how to put makeup on, but you have a friend who's great doing makeup, and I will invite her to come on over and show us how to put makeup on. I forget her name. Dios mío.
Marilyn.
Esa misma, the one that participated in the video as well. I'm going to have guest speakers, people that are going to be talking about, survivors that are going to be talking about, how they have still good relationships with their ex, partners. You don't know that, but you're going to be one of my guest speakers as well.
Thanks.
I'm letting you know right now. And just things in that sense. Yes, we're going to be able to help people out, but at the same token, we don't just want to help you out and just send you on your way.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to come to this program and, voice what you would like to do. If you want to learn something, if you want to do something, if you want to go somewhere, let's plan it out. Let's go. Let's do it.
So essentially, you're creating a safe space for people who have dealt with domestic violence or continue or in it right now. Currently, you want to give them resources to help them. All amazing things. I think that that's something that's pretty much needed in our community.
Yeah.
And that's amazing that you're doing that, and I'm super
Yeah.
proud of you for taking that on.
Oh my God,
I
I'm
think
so excited.
I
I'm
think
so
that that's
excited.
something that we need to continue to build different safe spaces, because there's, as we learned with the documentary and people who came to us after that, you need to find a place where you feel comfortable, because we've
Yes,
talked about it so many times on this show. A lot of us understand uno a la otra because we both went through it. So it's easy
exactly.
for us to sit and have a conversation about it. But
Right,
to sit and have a conversation with one of my sisters or with my mother or with a cousin who's never dealt with it is not always easy, because
right.
it's hard to explain to them, because in people's minds sometimes, like, well, why did you stay? And I don't get why you went through it for so long. So
And
it's
and
sometimes you need
and
that safe space.
and there's even sometimes where you think as a victim, because I used to think about this a lot. I don't want my family to get involved.
Mhm.
I don't want my partner to attack any one of my family members.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
It's happened before, I've seen it because my mom also was a domestic violence victim, and when her nephew tried to intervene or help, the the idiot, he stabbed him. you
Yeah.
know so you got to think about all of that as a victim. That's one of the first things that I would think about, in the
Mhm.
sense of, do I really want to get my family members involved where this guy might hurt them just to get at me? You got to think about
Mhm.
all the scenarios, and sometimes, you just, you're not ready. And it's not about wanting to stay in a situation. It's about, how do I get out without involving people
Yeah.
that you don't want people to get hurt?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's crazy, but that's what used to go to my mind when I used to be in the situation, especially with my first husband, that he was the physical one, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna tell nobody, because I don't want. He kicked my mother out the house one time. I remember,
Yeah.
my mom. Are you kidding me? Y yo pues, I'm not gonna say that I was not valiente or sangana. It's just that, let her leave, because I don't want him to hurt my mom, because then, you know, only God knows what would have happened. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
different situations, different sense of thinking, and you don't know. You just don't know.
You don't know, and you don't, a lot of the reasons why I stayed for so long, people used to tell me, but you left for work, so why would you go back home if you knew that that wasn't a safe place? And I'm like, you don't realize that's a part of the mental abuse. They know you're going to come back home, because they've made so many threats that if you don't come back home, they're going to
And
hurt this person and that person. So you do come back home.
people have to understand that, yeah, you left to work, but domestic violence does not begin with the physical. And that's where a lot of people need to kind of like get the education portion of it right. It all starts here, when they start to talk to you and comiéndote el cerebro and telling you different things that you're like, "Mm, mm." And then after they have you trapped mentally, that's when the physical and all the other stuff come about, that people don't quite get it. Because
Yeah.
when my mom was being abused, I would always say, I would never let anyone put their hands on me. Guess what? Never happened twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Never happened twice. And it's horrible. Horrible, just horrible. I don't wish it on anyone,
Yeah.
you know. But if there are people out there that are going through it, them numbers right there.
Yeah.
And
It's not the numbers right now, but we will play it in a minute.
it's gonna be down there, and then Miss Lady over here who's gonna give you more information on that. And then, of course, oh, I didn't give you guys where the location is. That I did say
It's on
that.
the flyer. I
It's on
posted
the
the
flyer.
flyer, and we're going to
Oh,
post it again when you have
yeah,
your
you did
moment by
post it.
yourself later. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's on Ontario Street, and it's, like I said, it's a church, but it's not a church. It's more like a house. And I believe that, when you welcome people to your house, you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You feel safe. You feel like, okay, well, I'm gonna go check Zulma out for a little bit and just, come on by, visit, say hi, bring your story, bring, your issues, bring your. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna solve everything, but we're gonna help you out with a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Which is amazing, and I commend you for that. And if anybody is interested in that, please contact her, inbox her. We're
Yes,
going to put up the
yes.
flyer again later. But I think it's important for victims and survivors to have a safe place, to have a
Mhm.
community-based place that they can say, I'm going to go there, I'm going to speak to someone, and even if I'm not ready to talk about it, let me just have a place where I know that other people can understand what I'm feeling and other people can
Exactly.
feel it. So we're about to get
Because
to 30.
because like the reason why we're talking today is because we were at a gathering on Friday, right? But
Mhm.
when was the last time that we really gathered
Yeah.
together? When was the last time that you came to my house?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I mean, this is where I want to go with it. I want to make it as a place where just come on over. You don't
Mhm.
have to have an excuse. You don't have to have a reason. Just come on over, swing by, and let's just take it from there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that love bucket. So we have 4 minutes to the half mark. I have a video that I want to show before we get to the half point. I think it depicts a lot of what we feel and what we've been talking about. It seems like a lot of times when we talk about this subject or we get into it, people rarely listen to the stories because they see it like this person is an actress or she does this in the community or that in the community and people don't
Mm-hmm.
see it. But when you hear it, sometimes it's helpful. So I like this video. When I saw it today, I was like, oh, I like this video only because she just looks like someone who would never go through that. And I can't believe she went through that.
Yeah.
And it's an eye opener. I would love to sit and put the documentary on here, but people would be like, we're sitting here for an hour. So we're going to talk about that later on because we're going to start doing showings again, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's play the
I
video.
met my abuser when I was 19 years old. He was 17 years my senior, but he was charming and it all started amazing. And then one thing led to another. Started with little comments here and there. So it started with more verbal abuse, and then it started with a push or a shove, and then it became a choke. I'm thinking in my head, if you choked me harder, then I'm going to leave. But then if every time I tried to leave, no one knew that I married him too. So that was a little bit of I felt trapped. I was 19 and made some bad decisions. It kept getting worse and I didn't know how to get out. And I thought that it was my fault because he truly blamed me for everything. And so I lost all my friends. I got dropped by every agent and manager in the business because I was doing terrible at auditions. And I truly felt like I was stuck. I didn't know if anyone would believe me. So I just hid. And that's when I finally was like, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. I was a girl with full of light and full of energy and charm. And this man just broke me down to absolute nothing. So on that next day is when he choked me, said he was going to kill me, and ended up strangling me till I lost my breath. But I saw my whole life flash before my eyes. I saw my birth to my funeral, and I just remember seeing my mom, and it's like, why couldn't I reach out to my family? There is a place you can reach out and you can talk about it. Once my abuser was in jail, I was able to finally be set free. Not only can we now speak about it, but we can also have shelter and we can get help. My manager's here tonight, and I remember saying, I have a really important story that I want to tell because I never understood why it happened to me. But now knowing the platform that I have, I want to be able to be a voice, and I will be the loudest voice for you guys to end domestic violence. Thank you so much for everyone being here.
That's kind of how I felt, right? And that's how kind of you felt, right? It was like we want to be the biggest voice, especially in
Exactly.
Philadelphia where there's a huge need. And even though where love shouldn't hurt Philly, we don't just deal with people in Philadelphia. I have people who have called me from Delaware County. I've had people call me from New York. I've had people call me from North Dakota. I'm sorry. I said North Dakota. North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. Like people have called from everywhere. And I think that there's a huge need. And I said it last night when I spoke. There's such a huge need because as Latinos, they tell us all the time, lo que pasa en la casa de nosotros se queda aquí. Tú no
Mm-hmm.
hablas sobre eso when you walk out the door.
Yeah.
Whatever's happening today here, we don't talk about it outside. And it's
Exactly.
funny because I say that to my daughter now, and not for anything negative like abuse. But like, if me and her have a disagreement, don't talk about it with your friends later. And
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how now, as I'm older, I'm more receptive to other people's advice or them telling me how to rear her. Hello, Lynette. How to rear her, how to, help bring her back. And it's crazy to look at it now. Like I say, don't tell people what's going on in my house because people don't need to know any craziness with we moved and this is where we live. So these are the things I say, but I do that as a precautionary thing. Don't tell people where we move to. Don't let them know where we live type of thing if they're not people within our immediate circle. Back then, the types of things that I had to se queda en la casa type stuff was I got my head bashed into the wall and now there's a hole in the wall. We're not going to tell people though how that got there. That stays here. Nobody needs to know about that. And that's how I lived. I literally was lifted and thrown into the wall and it's funny because if you think of like a meme or a cartoon when Tom and Jerry gets thrown and like his whole body's in the wall, that was my apartment. My whole body was through the wall. So when my mother came and her boss came, it was like, what happened to your wall? And I was like, oh, I was hanging stuff up on the wall and like none of it made sense.
Right. But you got to make an excuse to cover up.
And I have to make it get fixed. And I think along the lines, there was a lot of people who had ideas, just didn't know how to come about. I remember going to my aunt's funeral in New York and I was with my grandmother at the casket, but I had a skirt on for the funeral. And my whole back of my leg was black and blue because I had been thrown down the steps the day before. And my dad was sitting, just looking at me. Like he had this look on his face, just sitting there. So when I turned around and I looked at him, it wasn't the type of look, oh, we're at a funeral. It was like, something's wrong. So when we went to the wake, I sat next to him and he said, what happened to the back of your leg? And I was like, what? And he's like, the back of your leg. What's the bruise? And I was like, oh, I went out this weekend and a friend had a motorcycle and I fell off. Like he took a hard turn and I fell off. And my dad was like, you sure? Like, yeah. And he's like,
yeah, making excuses.
Making excuses because that's what we do. We make excuses so people don't know that's what we're doing. So anyway, I want to get into the second half of this, but just a reminder for folks who are watching, if you just got on or not, that is the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. If you need help, whether it's you, a friend, or a foe, you can pass on that number so that someone that you know can get the help, even if you don't like them, but you think they're going through domestic violence. It takes 2 seconds to pass on that number. So just a reminder, folks, we are celebrating Domestic Violence Awareness Month tonight. We're talking all things domestic violence, and people are like, why are you talking about that? Because that is what we do. So we're talking about it tonight so that people know what it is that we stand for, why we're here, and what happened. So Ms. Zulma, after this documentary, we started doing some things. We were in a book together.
Yep.
We were in a book together. We were able to put our stories inside of a book. That was another great moment for us.
And that was amazing because I remember you was chapter 1. I was chapter 13, the chapter that nobody wanted. And it was funny because it was a 13 and some, I guess, superstitious or whatever. I was like, But the funny thing about it is that I remember the title of my chapter was Abused but God. And it's funnier now when I hear myself saying it because I wasn't reconciled with the Lord yet. But the Lord already knew, where I was going to be at because that was the title of my chapter. And it's like, you know what? Even when I wasn't with the Lord, he already had a plan. Y aquí estoy.
Absolutely. I think that it was a profound moment for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
I think that, people came into that evening to the documentary. Like, we say this all the time. Our executive producer, Ray, he literally was like, I called him and I'm like, listen, I have this project I want to do. I just need a space. I don't even know what to do. And he was like, oh, just come into my studio. Like, you can use it. No idea what was going to happen. Exactly. He was like, yeah, come in, contact the Marilyn. Hey, you were close to Linda. I think you should be a part of this. Can you be our makeup artist? She was like, yeah, sure. Jose, hey, I have this project I want to do. I don't have any money. That's what I told everybody. I have no money to pay you. No money, but can you come do it? And I think that it was a shock to everyone's system. Yeah. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what the plan was, but no one else knew that. And then you knew, Jackie knew, but all of the outside people didn't know.
Right.
So we went in there, and I was saying last week on the show, we went in, I brought gifts for everybody. We ordered food. We're laughing. We got playlists on the thing. And then we start cameras rolling. And it was like, you can hear a pin drop.
That's right.
And literally each one of us told our stories one at a time. And like, just the reactions. Marilyn was crying in a corner. My daughter, was there and
Oh,
she was crying.
yeah.
Ray has been in my life since I was a teenager. And he literally, I remember looking up and seeing him emotional and like,
Yeah.
and then helping. He kept taking my daughter out of, I get emotional, my eyes get watery because
Yeah.
it was such an awakening for everyone in the room. Everyone was just like, oh my God. They were so taken back. And we went in there like, hey, let's go. When we left, it was like, like we all
Oh my
just,
God.
it was such a heavy day.
But at the same token, I also felt like this weight was lifted, because I finally was able to tell my story. And, my only moment of, oh my God, was when my kids saw it.
Yeah.
How was their reaction gonna be? Because, especially with my son, because he was grandecito ya when this whole stuff happened. And he says, Mom, I remember certain things. And now my son is 30, and listening to my son till this day talk to me about the situation. I'm like, how do you even remember that? Like, you think that you're hiding, the situation or the violence from your children. Your kids know from the moment that it starts until it's over, and then the honeymoon set, and then it starts all over. They know the cycle. Your kids, man, these kids know the cycle. It's like, oh my goodness. Because me and my son had a real good long talk about 2 weeks ago. And he said, Mom, I remember this and this and that. I'm like, oh my God.
Absolutely.
Man.
So during my abuse, I didn't have a child. This was prior to her.
Right.
And then during my pregnancy. And then as I state in the documentary, the last time he hit me, she was 3 years old.
Right.
She doesn't remember that now. Like now she did. It's crazy. At one point she did. And now that she's older, she's like, I don't remember. So, we go through the stages with her, right? It is a good thing. But the craziness is she wasn't present for the physical abuse. Right. She wasn't for the physical abuse. But after the fact, I still got in relationships that were very mentally abusive. And I thought my daughter had absolutely no idea. And she literally would get in my car the next day and say, you need to not be with him anymore. Exactly. And I'm like, I would look at her like, huh? What? And she's like, you deserve better, Mom. You're worth more. And I'm like, our kids know. And oftentimes I tell people when they tell me, I know that it's bad, but I'm staying for my kids. And I'm like, don't. Yeah. I know you feel like that's what you should, but don't, because you think but
there's a saying in Spanish, los niños no aguantan a ningún hombre. Period. No man is gonna stay for the child. No man. Why should you?
Yeah. Why? And sometimes we feel like it's a benefit to them, but it's not. I think it does more damage on them because they're sitting there watching what you're accepting.
Exactly.
And I'll speak for me again. I always say I speak for me. In my instance, I had to make the moves that I had to make so that it could be better. Because my daughter was seeing very unhealthy behavior. She was seeing Mommy accept things that she knew she shouldn't accept. And it was like, how am I trying to shape this young woman into a positive young woman so that she doesn't accept and tolerate negativity, but I'm allowing her to see it.
Exactly.
I'm allowing her to see it. And it was like, listen, I could be on my own and single and better off than to be in a relationship that's diminishing my relationship with my child, diminishing her idea of what, reality,
what is acceptable and what is not, because they learn by example. Yeah. So if you're leading and telling them one thing but showing them another thing, they're gonna go more from what you're showing than what you're saying. Porque así como se aprende.
Absolutely.
And look, I've been single for a reason.
So because it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this month is nothing but showing honor. I mean, I pay homage to it all the time. I wear purple constantly because, but because it is the month and we are talking about that today, tell me as a survivor what it means to you during this month. Because, I know that this is also a very critical month for you as well, because there's another awareness that's very close to your heart this month as well. But as a survivor, especially after what we've been through with the book, with the documentary and everything that's happened since in your different experiences, what does this month signify for you? What does the fact that there's purple on the bridge and there's purple in the water downtown, what does it mean to you?
I smile here, but I don't smile internally because
Mhm.
there are victims out there that
Mhm.
are scared to come seek help, ask
Yeah.
for help, leave, and it only takes this much.
Yeah.
But because they're afraid, victims are scared. They're scared of what's going to happen. Where am I going to do where am I going to live? What's going to happen with my kids? So all of that, what's going to, you know,
Mhm.
that hurts my heart. It saddens me in the fact that while we're out here doing domestic violence awareness, what are we teaching, or what are we outreaching to the victims?
Mhm.
How can we help them more?
Mhm.
What else can we do? Like, just thinking, there are people out there that are in silence,
Mhm.
behind closed doors, not wanting to come out and say, or seek the help that they need. So
Mhm.
to me, it's just, yes, awareness. Yes, I understand the awareness. And as a survivor, I get it. But to me, my focus is more on
What
those
do we?
victims that are still victims and are scared to come out of it because of what they think it's going to await them, or
Mhm.
what's the lack of the things. And it's just like, I wish I could metermele por dentro somehow, just bring them. But a victim is only going to seek help when the victim wants to come and seek it. You can't force them. You can't make them do anything. When they're ready, they're gonna come out. And I just pray to the Lord that these victims just are ready to come out, because we're gonna be machacando, machacando, and machacando domestic violence all month. So my prayers is that, the current victims that are still hiding, that are still home, scared, trying to seek help but not knowing how to do it, I hope they just have the courage to want to leave that relationship, because if they don't want to, they're not going to, no matter how much we talk about it and spread the awareness.
I think for me, I kind of feel like the same way that I feel about Hispanic Heritage, Black History Month. I feel like it's amazing that, there's a month where we focus on these things.
Yeah.
There's a month where we talk about it, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm Hispanic Heritage, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Oh, Black History Month, let's learn about our history.
Exactly.
But I
Yes.
always internally feel like, why are we just talking about it this month? Why is it just, this month, you'll see, when I went to Harrisburg last year in this month, in front of Harrisburg, there's a fountain. It was purple.
Hmm.
And in Philly, the bridge, purple.
Right.
Like there's so many things. And I'm like, that's amazing. And for me, I feel like that's great that that's done. But
Right.
something internally makes me feel like we're here every Tuesday and we're talking
Yep.
about it. Where's everybody else talking about it?
Exactly.
Why are we not talking about it more? Because of just like what you said, there are victims out there who are us in the past. They're just watching from background and they're
Exactly.
seeing all of this and they're like, I can't get out. So my biggest hope from what we do every week is that they're watching us. And I
Hmm.
constantly put it up so people can see, because maybe something that we say on here will make them say, I'm going to inbox her, or tonight I'm going to go get a PFA or an
Yeah.
emergency order. Because I think that that's a big part of what has been a major accomplishment for Love Shouldn't Hurt. The fact that we continue to speak about it, speak about it, speak about it. Because let's be real, I am not tooting my horn in any way, shape, or form, because there are so many resources within the city. Women Against
Absolutely.
Abuse, Lutheran Settlement House. There's so many people working on domestic violence.
Yep.
But they're just organizations that people know about. I'm not tooting my horn, but this is why I've kept on for 4 years and I'm in their face every day. You
Yep.
don't like my post and I post too much? I don't care, because people were not talking about it. And
Exactly.
I'm talking about it because you know what? I'm going to cry. When I was going through it, no one was talking about it.
Right.
So I thought I had to hide from my family. I thought I
Exactly.
had to hide from the public. I thought I had to hide what I was going through because nobody was talking about it.
Hmm.
So this month is amazing. And I'm so happy that we're able to highlight it and talk about it. But my biggest takeaway every time this month happens is I love that you people are talking about it. Let's talk about it every damn day.
And this
So
is the
that
reason why.
everybody-
And this is the reason why I'm doing the 2nd and 4th of the month. This is not just this month. This is an ongoing program that I'm lifting. It's every second and every Friday of each month. It's not just October. It's not. No. It's gonna. I'm gonna do like you're doing with this program. That's what my program is gonna be about. It's gonna be. We're gonna get together twice a month, Fridays from 7 to 9, and just do what we need to do. Self-care, self-love, the whole 9 yards, because it's not just gonna be about October. Nope. We're gonna keep it moving.
So I'm going to play another video for us. It's a man speaking on domestic violence. And I always love when I see men because I feel like, yes.
Here are some common signs of domestic violence that everyone should be aware of. Insulting, shaming, demeaning you, especially in front of other people. Showing extreme jealousy of your friends or time spent away from them. Pressuring you to use drugs and alcohol. Preventing or discouraging you from hanging out with friends, family, or peers. No one deserves to experience abuse of any kind for any reason. Make sure you create a safety plan, reach out, and take action.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We're at our 47 mark, which means that in a few minutes, you're going to have your platform to talk by yourself. Before we do that, though, folks, I want to thank publicly all of the people who came out to our networking event last night and who helped us with celebrating our 4-year anniversary. It's actually in a week and a half, but we wanted to make sure that we took a moment to celebrate and we had people come out and just express their time with us because it was a great turnout. We thought the rain was going to scare people away, but it was great. And that's something that we want to continue to do within the community. We were going to continue to have small networking events just so that people come out and learn what it is that we do for Love Shouldn't Hurt. They're not all going to be, thank you, Nancy. She was there last night. She says it was an amazing event. It is not just going to be, just come out and network and just talk. What we are going to also do is, our documentary was a great hit. A lot of people came to our showings, but what we want to start doing now is bringing it up again. People need to see it. They need to hear the story. I'm going to start doing some online viewings of it. We'll have some watch parties so that folks can come, log in, and we can watch it together. We're also going to do showings within networking events. We'll come out, we'll sit at Isla, we'll have the screen, and we'll watch it together so that we can sit and talk and have a dialogue about what people feel about the documentary and sharing their time with us and feeling as good as they can. So I'm going to show a clip from last night's networking event so you guys can see. When I come back, we're going to give Zulma the floor so that she can give us her closing thoughts. Woohoo! It
That looked
was a
like a lot
good
of fun.
it was a really, really good time. We had a great turnout. We really were concerned about the rain, but it was great. But yes, Nancy says it was nice to see men supporting it. It was. I'm not going to say who the person is, but I received a text message this morning from a male. And when I woke up, I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I was so touched by it. They said, good morning. Just wanted to thank you for inviting me to your event yesterday. I've watched your documentary and I try to follow your YouTube channel. What you guys are doing is big and it is very informative. I pay particular attention to this subject matter for myself for self-awareness. This is a man. And for the sake of my daughter and women in my family. Keep doing what you guys are doing because the message is necessary. So that is absolutely the best way for me to wake up this morning, to see that message, especially from a gentleman, because we get so much flack from just negativity from men who think that we're bashing, and we're not. That's absolutely not the case. So it was a great event. And we plan on doing a million other events, just so that everybody knows within the community what it is that we're doing. So I have a bunch of different updates, but I'm going to let Zulma have the floor so that she can say her final thought. Take as much time as you want. And then I'll be back with some updates for you.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Christina, for allowing me to come on today and just, sharing with you and celebrating our 4 years of the whole documentary. Sharing also the book that we both participated in, which was fun and everything like that. And again, the same way that you've done this show every Tuesday at 7:00, I just want to reiterate that, we're doing a program. It's from Ministerio Generación de Guerreros. It's also domestic violence. We're going to be doing a lot of things, as you can see on the screen. This is more focused on what happens after domestic violence. What are the things that you can do, what you can accomplish, what are your goals, how to not stay, I don't want to use this word, but I'm just going to use it just to kind of like give an idea, how to move forward and not stay stuck in that place. Because sometimes, years can go by and we're still red flagging things that we shouldn't be red flagging, still having trust issues. How do we move forward from that? How do we learn how to open up a little bit more? And I speak for myself when I say, it's very difficult to do so because I am one of those person. But this program is about moving forward, self-care, self-love, learning things, helping with things, participating in different things that maybe at one particular time you wanted to do stuff and you couldn't do stuff. And one of the things that I was able to do was go to Sights and Sounds. And I'm just floored with how beautiful that is. And, we're doing a group trip about that. We're going to be doing other trips. We're going to be doing craft stuff. We're going to be doing, again, there's going to be help for people, like I mentioned previously, people that need help with rent, food, bills, protection orders, referrals for different places. It's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it's not only going to be just focusing on domestic violence, what you're going to do, it's going to be about you as a person. I'm going to have guest speakers, and it's just going to be an amazing program. It's every second and fourth Friday of the month. We'll be there from 7 to 9. It's going to be at 211 West Ontario Street. Okay. And it's a blue building. It's a church, but it's not a church. It's more like a house. It's a corner house. We're going to be there, like I said, every second and fourth Friday from 7 to 9. And again, I just wanted to thank Christina for allowing me this time to get together within our 4-year, soon to be 4-year of the documentary, and allowing me to just participate with you guys, And again, this is not about pushing religion, because this is not what it's about. It's about having a safe place where you can come and just kind of like relax and just give yourself some time, 2 hours to do what you would like to do or what you would like to learn or where you would need help at and stuff like that. I'm not here to try to push any religion, but I will pray for you if you need prayer. So that's just me. Thank you again for allowing me to be here. Love you guys. Bring people over and just, participate.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, mi amor. Thank you. I'm gonna take you to the back. Don't go anywhere because you know I gotta take a selfie after. I'll be back. I have some announcements. Hello, all. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And every week, I see a lot of you who are consistent and come on and just interact with us. I want to thank you guys first and foremost for doing that, because we are where we are because of the support that we've received from all of you and continue to receive from all of you. Last night's event was great. I am super, 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 super happy and just overjoyed with how well it turned out. I want to thank those individuals who are a part of my team who helped make that happen. Obviously, always Ray is first because he is my number one man who was there no matter what. Lily, Damarid, Jen, Eugene, all of the people who came and just helped me be together, not lose my mind. Because if you know me, I get very, very anxiety ridden when I'm doing these things. So I appreciate everyone who came out to just support us and be there with us, because with your help, with your donations and how you guys support us, we're able to help victims more. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I did see the comments that were put up. I'm glad that you guys absolutely were interacting. I will read them after. So thank you guys for being here for that. Next week, we will have another great show. I have two gentlemen who actually have never been on before, who actually just believe that, they want to have their voices heard. And I am so excited for that, because we always have a male perspective. And there's Alvin Romero. He's been on here before with us. Hello, Alvin. And he's participated in our male perspective. So we have two gentlemen who actually have asked me, can I come on your show? So next Tuesday, we will be having another male's perspective from different males. We are looking forward to that. I want to remind folks that we have moved our gala officially. We now have a home and we're super excited, but we want to do it after the winter and the chaos. It is March 18th, our third annual Love Gala. We will be at the Waterfall Room on Southampton Road. Attire obviously is formal. We were there to remember all of our survivors and honor those that we no longer have with us. So just a reminder to folks that we will be having that on March 18th. Also, that's right. Also, I want to remind folks that we were doing a lot of showings of our documentary a couple years ago when we did it. But like I stated earlier, we think it's super beneficial for you guys to see it, to interact. But we also have so many people who come on the show and they're like, we'd love to talk to you guys and share. So something that I'm looking forward to doing for our next event, not just coming and having a networking event. We're planning to go to a location that has beverages and drinks and all of the above, but a friendly and family location where you guys can come in, we can show the documentary, and then we can just have an interactive conversation of people's thoughts. When we did our documentary almost 3 years ago, when we started showing them, we decided the second time around that we should do interactive conversations. So we spoke to our audience and it was amazing. Something like this, where you guys are talking to us, but we want to see your faces. We want to hear your voices. So our next event, we will post the date very soon. Once we secure our location, we will be showing our documentary so that you guys can come out and interact with us. Give your feelings about what you feel in the documentary. We are still working on documentary number 2. We are interviewing different people who will be a part of this. We are the survivors and we originally did it, but our roles will be very different this time around. We'll be asking the questions while new survivors are telling their stories. So we're super, super excited for that. We're super to just super excited. I keep using the same word, but we are, because we think that sharing our voices and getting them back in the community has helped so many people. So we want to continue to do that. And we're super excited for that. As we close out, I just want to take a moment. I know that this is very odd, but it's not really odd if you watch our show all the time. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we continue to talk about it. But the goal and the reason why we continue to do what we do is to remember an amazing soul. My voice gets scratchy. So before we close out tonight, I'm going to bring Zulma back so we can say goodbye. But I do want to take a moment of silence so that we can remember her, because she is the reason why we have done this. So if you are just tuning in with us and you're like, who is this person? This is the beautiful Linda Jeannie Rios. Unfortunately, her life was taken from her 4 years ago. She is the reason behind our organization. We wanted to tell our stories, but because of the loss of this beautiful woman, we do what we do, and we will continue to always do what we do. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute and give us a moment to reflect on that. And that is how we will close out our show tonight. Thank you guys for being here tonight. We appreciate you. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.